Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, today, I'm in Level Cross, North Carolina with Richard Petty himself, and we're cruising around one of the new Richard Petty Challengers. Richard, this is a lot of fun. I'm going to have a good time today.
First thing you know, you're in an 80-mile an hour and you're just getting up to speed.
My pal, Richard Petty. This almost looks scary. So Richard, you basically, I mean, you were born and raised here, like right here.
Yeah, I was born in this house right up here.
Yeah.
And you know, they didn't go to the hospitals and stuff. Then the doctors brought the babies as far as we knew.
So you were born in that house.
My brother and myself were born in that house. That's my grandmother's, granddaddy's house.
Well, and like you say, you're not really a collector. You're kind of an accumulator. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
You've had opportunities to buy something. You see something you like to have. You just get it and throw it in the back of the house or whatever in the museum.
And now the museum.
And then
is that how this?
Yeah, that's how the museum came about. We had stuff everywhere. All these buildings around here.
Put it
had
somewhere.
Stuff parked at the house. Had stuff in the attic and in the basement. And one day we said, okay, let's just do a museum. Get this stuff out of the house.
So like the guns, same thing. You got this huge
thing.
collection of guns, but it's just stuff that's kind of come to you.
You just see them and you say, man, I like that. And my wife's the same way with the dolls. We just give her a corner over her. She's been collecting dolls ever since she was yay high. And when you go to our museum, it's not really a racing museum, it's a petty museum.
Yeah,
it shows
all the stuff that's...
It shows everything from the first cars that like my dad run until the cars today, but then it's also got the life between there. We did things beside racing.
That's right, you actually had a life. Right?
So we had a little bit of a life beside racing, but we got a little bit of everything in there. So it's a pretty interesting place.
Yeah, well now you got the shop, Petty's Garage, and you got these great fabricators and you're building cars. Actually, this is one of your guys. This is Tony's sweet little...
Yeah, Tony worked on this thing for years in his backyard, and then he'd have to take it out and get it painted or do some different things.
Well, it's awful, and he did a little bit of everything to this truck.
This is the hot rod guy's dream. In other words, it's got a little bit of new stuff, a little bit of old stuff, anything in between.
I can't believe he crammed a supercharger in there. I mean, that's pretty innovative.
Little bitty hood, right?
Man.
But yeah, he went through everything. He even got a plastic
bed there so you can see down
so you
in
can
it.
look down and see all the run works and all the work they've done, the pinstriping and all that stuff. So.
But these are the cars, the Petty Challengers.
Yeah, these are Petty Challengers.
These are what you're playing with now.
That we're playing with. You know, they reworked the engine a little bit, put a supercharger on the thing. It stays pretty stock from the body standpoint, but you got bigger brakes, bigger suspension, bigger wheels, tires, sway bars, the whole deal.
And if you want one, you can have one built by Petty's Garage.
Yeah, you can have one just exactly like that right there.
Well, we probably want to take this out later, so we'll get back to this.
You for a spin.
Yeah, riding with the king. This is again kind of back to your accumulation. This is one that came to you.
I knew some guys in Richmond, Virginia, and they was cleaning up one day and they had this thing sitting out back. And at the time I got this, we were running Pontiacs. And so the guy said, would you like to have that deal? And I said, yeah, I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with it. It's all sitting out all rusted and beat up. And so he drug it down here. and I think it stayed here for 8 or 10 years. And then my wife, I was getting ready for my 60th birthday. So my wife sent it back to Virginia and the guys redone the thing.
She's beautiful.
And, the grandkids really loved it because it's got roll-up windows, no seat belts. They could jump back and forth in the back.
Just have a good old time.
They had a good old time with the thing.
Well, how about the Dodge? What's the history of that?
I had two of my daughters learn to drive because it's got straight gears in the forward. Most everything was automatic.
Yeah,
and I said, look, you got to learn on a straight geared car. So we didn't put a lot of miles on that thing, just learning.
Well, now the Buick, there's a big picture there in the office. You and Junior Johnson.
Yeah, this 4-holer. The Roadmaster.
Yeah, the Roadmaster, right. Well, these things are tanks, man.
They was then and they are now.
They still are.
And what's neat about driving an old car like that, I mean, that was the very best that Detroit could come up with. That was modern at that time. I mean, the very best brakes, tires, wheels, motor, everything. And now you're getting at things that,
holy
man,
cow.
these guys had to take a tetanus shot just to drive these things. You know? So I'm glad we've come along now, but it makes you appreciate what they've done to automobile today.
Well, it also, I always appreciated the race drivers from back then, because I mean, herding these things around the racetrack.
Yeah, no power steering, any of that kind of stuff, no suspension deal, and it's flopping around all over the deal. So they were busy driving the race car, that's for sure.
That's when men were men, right?
Nothing easy.
The Superbird back here, this is one of the cars you were kind of famous for.
Yeah, I really wanted one of the Superbirds to show the difference between what it was stock, and then at the museum we've got the blue car as you go in. Mm-hmm. That's a real all-out race car with a Hemi and all the big race car.
But that wing really did do what it was supposed to do. That
was a deal where the wing was adjustable.
Yeah.
The car was almost impossible to spin out.
Just stuck to the track.
The deal with the uprights that hold the wing were like rudders. And when the car would get sideways, it would hit those rudders and just kind of straighten itself back up. I mean, it was amazing how safe the car was from that standpoint.
That must have been kind of fun.
Well, it was a lot of fun because it was one of the deals that you knew with that car you were supposed to win the race because you had the best car.
And if you didn't, it was your own darn fault, right?
Right. Put a lot of pressure on the drivers.
And then this is just a stock one
It's just strictly stock.
Well, you talk about, stock cars and how they started out as stock cars, but you look inside this now, and what they do to protect the driver is just incredible.
It's just unreal. You go back and you look at one of the older cars and stuff. All we had was a seat. It
might have a seat belt.
We had a seat belt, a shoulder harness, had a hand fire extinguisher, and that was about it. Okay, But now they put them in cocoons. They got deals around their necks, around their heads and stuff. So they're really sitting in a cocoon. Mm-hmm. They sit there, and that's the reason they have to have spotters now because they can't see. They can't look around. Then they got full face helmets. We run open face helmets, and you had to know where the other guy was when you run at him or when he ran at you.
Well, so, these are the cars you got kind of your accumulators here. But back in the shop, you got all sorts of projects going on.
Yeah, we'll take you back there and show you what we're doing. They're doing a little bit of everything back there, too.
Can't wait, man. Let's go. Hey, Richard, these are one of the weirder cars.
Really weird.
Pontiac ever made.
Yeah, Pontiac and Chevrolet, everybody really got into the racing in the mid-'80s. And so they're trying to say, okay, what can we do to a stock car and make it a little bit quicker and all that stuff. So in '86, Pontiac came with this fastback deal. And this car here is the original car that they pieced together to show to the people that this is the kind of race car that they wanted.
Oh, so this is actually like a demo or something?
Yeah,
almost?
and this car's got no serial numbers or anything.
Oh, really?
This is one that they're supposed to crush, and as it went out the back door, we kind of put it on our trailer instead of somebody else's trailer. Anyhow, we wound up with the thing. And this one here, they're putting some kind of blower deal. It's a kind of a drag race deal. The rules say you got to have a second seat, okay? But they needed a place for the cooling tank, so they just set the tank in the seat. In fact, they had it on the floor to begin with, and then they got to reading the rule book, said, we got to have a seat, so they just jacked it up and put it in the seat.
Now, this isn't actually one of your cars.
No, this is some Kyle Petty fan.
Kyle?
Okay? And
he's such a fan that this is his car?
He rides around in it every day.
Now that's a fan.
I mean, he's even got Kyle 42 license plate.
This is an important thing here too. See that in all your cars. I've been to Victor Junction camp.
Okay.
Yeah, it is unbelievable.
That is an unreal place.
This is for kids that.
This is chronically and seriously ill kids. They can't go to a regular camp. Mm-hmm. They have to be somebody with them. They're under doctor's orders and all this stuff. But when they go over there, we've got a swimming pool where if they're in a wheelchair, they just roll them right in. All this kind of stuff. They can go bowling. They go zip line. They ride horses.
Well, I was just amazed. It's a wonderful foundation.
I mean, it really tugs at your heart.
It does.
The hardest part about the whole thing is when them kids come and stuff. is trying to get them to go home. None of them want to go because they're doing things they've never done, and every day there's something different for them to do. Again, it just opens up a whole different world for them.
Yeah, giving back big time.
That's big time.
You even do Hudsons?
That's a Hudson, and they're putting a Hemi engine in it. Okay.
That's a good combo. I like that.
You know what I mean? So what he wanted was sort of a halfway race car or a hot rod, but he wanted it to look stock. So when he pulls up and races his motor, they know something's going on because it's not a 6-cylinder engine. You know?
So
that's one of the Hudson Hornets. And
a new crate Hemi in it? Is that what went in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's an old model Hemi. That's not the latest deal. That's a 426 Hemi. But see, all this stuff's already made, and they just have to fit it and make the brackets and run all the wires, put a new dash in the thing, and when they get through with it, it'll really
That's going to be a smoking Hudson, though. Let me tell you. And then that is a,
that's
back to
a
Ford.
full-fledged drag car.
That is a serious looking machine.
And it's built from the ground up here. So we just accumulate all the pieces and all the parts and all the stuff. And
it's fully tubbed and everything, right? I mean, it looks tubbed, yeah.
Yes. It's all chrome moly underneath of it, everything in it, and it's been inspected, so it's ready to go.
Well, we were looking at your hot rod pickup. So you do that kind of stuff, and you do this kind of stuff.
Well, he learned on his own stuff. So then we bring that expertise in, and he's got a little experience at it, so he goes with it. But he had all this experience doing race cars. When we used to start with, like I say, just straight bars and pieces of flat metal, and they made a race car.
So a car coming out of Petty's garage has got all that race expertise, that race history behind it.
Yeah, they got all the guys all been here, got 15, 20 years experience on race cars. So road cars are easy.
Ain't nothing to that.
Right, and nothing to that.
Well, this baby, this almost looks scary.
It's going to be interesting to see it run for the first time.
Yeah, it will. Well, you've got that Petty Challenger, that black Petty Challenger. That would be fun to see run.
That is a neat car.
That is a neat car.
Why don't we just take you a ride in that thing and see what's going on?
Let's do that.
I know he's going to be on that.
Let's go. Richard, this is the number one, serial number one.
This is the number one.
The Richard Petty.
They let me ride around.
How nice, how nice. And we got Greg here, he's your GM here. Let's look at this baby. Tell me what all you did to this thing.
This is our first of our production cars we're creating out of the shop here that are basically an aftermarket version of what they've been doing for 60 years of hopping up the cars. So this car we took and did everything we could do to it from a performance standpoint. It's brakes, wheels, tires, exhaust system. The engine's been upgraded on the bottom end to withstand the 9 pounds of boost with a supercharger. So we're 610 horsepower to the crankshaft. So
that's pretty healthy. Real sinister too.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I think it's a great car.
Yep.
But the coolest thing is this badge.
You like the badge?
I love the badge. I mean, it was like made for that, Richard.
I think Dodge made the outside for us. We done the inside.
They did a great job for you too. We can take this baby out and drive it around, huh?
There you go.
I don't see why not.
Made it to drive.
All right, well, let's drive it then.
You driving?
Oh, well, sure.
Okay. You think you can get out of the garage without skinning it up?
I think so. Ooh, that's nice, and that's a short throw, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what I say. I like the shifter.
Wow. I can tell there's some power here.
Yeah, you get up to speed before you realize it. First thing you know, you're running 80 mile an hour and you're just getting up to speed.
Well, I'm just getting going here. Holy cow. There's a lot of punch there. This thing's it's singing too, isn't it?
It's not got a flat spot in it.
No.
And it don't come in, it's just there all the time.
I'd love to see you drive this thing.
I can drive it.
on too.
Well, we brought it back in one piece. We did
That's,
good.
that's always a good thing. I'm always happy when that happens.
I can believe that.
Wow. Now
All
that
right, guys.
was a ride.
That was neat.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Betty.
So, Richard, do you really like the show? You think this is one of the best shows you've ever seen? Good, glad to hear it.